Devil May Cry is one of, if not the best action series you can play. Almost every single game within the series is an absolute banger. Almost. It's a series that means quite a lot to me. I mean, my only video that has managed to scrape over 1 million views is one on the Virgil DLC from Devil May Cry 5. Seriously, I have no idea what happened here. Why is everyone watching this?
Scum.
Alright, that was just unnecessary. So, since I love the series so much, I wanted to go fully into each game, going into every chapter, discussing what I love and what I think is kinda, well, a bit shit about them. So let's start by going back to where it all began, with the original Devil May Cry for the PlayStation 2. Devil May Cry is a great game, and despite the fact it's older than 3/4 of you watching this video, it still easily holds up. Well, for the most part. See, Devil May Cry kinda set the standard for what a character action game truly was. Like, it was the first one to actually ever exist. We probably wouldn't have shit like Metal Gear Rising, Bayonetta, Hi-Fi Rush, and even the 3D Ninja Gaiden games without Devil May Cry setting the foundation, allowing them to expand on it with their own take on the formula. Unlike those games, Devil May Cry had nothing to really improve on, considering it was the first of its kind. So there are quite a few things here that are just kinda confusing. Also, the budget wasn't exactly through the roof because, if you didn't already know, Devil May Cry was originally a side project spinning off from a version of Resident Evil 4. I won't go into much detail because, let's be real, I'm fairly certain almost everybody knows this story by now. If you don't, then all you need to know is Resident Evil 4's development was kind of a shit show, and 2 separate versions of the game were made into their own things by smaller teams who were originally working on Resident Evil 4. Obviously, Devil May Cry was one of them, developed by a team called Little Devil, with the GOAT himself, Hideki Kamiya, at the helm directing, leading the team. He's the GOAT because he hasn't blocked me on Twitter yet, which is a surprisingly easy thing to happen to you, supposedly. I don't want to try it. Now, you want to know what isn't easy? Devil May Cry. It's an incredibly tough game, like really tough. Especially if you don't learn the mechanics. It feels like there are enemies that are designed to just kick your teeth in and spit on your unconscious body, and then go lay down on your bed because it's a fucking overgrown shadow pussycat. Fuck you! Yeah, to be fair, the difficulty makes sense because it's a PlayStation 2 game. Even games on that system aimed towards a younger audience were still pretty tough as nails looking back on it. And honestly, this might be a hot take, but I think Devil May Cry 1 on normal is harder than Ninja Gaiden on normal. That could just come down to a huge skill issue though. You know what, that's probably the case. With Devil May Cry being the first one in the series, it hadn't quite grasped its identity yet. You know, the one that everyone has come to know and love, with the funny wacky wahoo pizza man. Dante's kinda nothing like that in this game. I mean, to be fair on it, a lot of the DMC identity is there, and it definitely does stem from this game, especially in terms of the gameplay. There are combos, different weaponry, a style ranking, and terrible platforming that makes you yearn for Kamiya to get testicular torsion. But there are a lot of moments where the remaining remnants of it being a Resident Evil game are extremely apparent. A lot of Devil May Cry 1 has you exploring a giant haunted castle, collecting items and backtracking to open up pathways to progress. All the while you're seeing things through fixed camera angles, which sounds very familiar, doesn't it? The whole haunted castle stuff was also a scrapped version of Resident Evil 4, where Leon Kennedy was wandering around a freaky castle with like ghosts and shit coming at him and paranormal dolls.
I have a date with a 6-year-old boy.
Jesus Christ.
This version of Resident Evil 4 looked really creepy, and it definitely feels like they kept a lot of the horror elements when it came to making Devil May Cry, because this game can feel incredibly eerie at times. Like, to add on to this, not only are you exploring demented looking areas being attacked by possessed puppets and disgusting demonic abominations that I can't even describe, but during downtime you never truly feel alone. The ambience of every area does an incredible job at putting you on edge constantly, even though you're supposed to be playing as a demon killing powerhouse, which honestly, props to Kamiya and his team for managing to pull that off. It's actually a tone I wish they brought back for the future Devil May Cry games. But anyway, I feel like the difficulty definitely amplifies this fear, because wandering around these places, you don't know when enemies are going to jump out at you. Luckily, there are quite a few weapons to play around with, mainly ranged weaponry, because melee-wise, Devil May Cry 1 is lacking a bit. The game has 3 swords that work mostly the same, and a single flaming fist weapon called Ifrit. It's a really good flaming fist weapon, don't get me wrong, but yeah, there's not much here. Out of the 3 swords you get though, none of them are Dante's iconic sword Rebellion, which is quite sad. This thing gives me life. I want a life-size model of it, and I want to wear it on my back when I take the tram to work and then probably get the police called on me for carrying a weapon. So the first sword you use in Devil May Cry is the Force Edge, which is probably the least interesting out of the 3 you get. Luckily, not too long in, you get impaled with the next sword that Dante casually aura farms with. This one is called Alistair. Alistair's basically an electrified version of the Force Edge, which gives you an electrified Devil Trigger mode. It also allows you to charge up ranged weapons with electricity. Honestly, the interesting parts of Alistair is everything surrounding it, because in terms of actually using it, it works the same as Force Edge, but you can actually buy combos for it. The last sword is the iconic Devil Sword Spada, Dante's father's sword. It looks sick, it hits harder than both Force Edge and Alistair, but you don't get any Devil Trigger with it until right at the end, so I can imagine most people go back to using Alistair right after getting Devil Sword Spada, just for that Devil Trigger cushion, because that's the only reliable way to heal mid-combat, especially during bosses without having to use an item. Speaking of items, I had to use holy water so many times just to finish off some of the bosses in this game, because just like the normal enemies, they're tough as shit. Speaking of the bosses, since Devil May Cry was on a lower budget, there aren't that many. There's actually 4 to be exact if we exclude the final boss. But the game makes up for this because you fight each one multiple times, with them having a new move or element up their sleeves with each encounter. Despite the limited resources, they made the absolute most out of them, and you have to respect that. Even if some of them make me want to tear my fucking hair out. I'm looking at you, Nightmare, you stupid fucking extremely unhealthy blood-covered poo of a boss fight. I don't know how else to describe it. I especially hate his third encounter, where he makes you refight one of the previous bosses mid-fight if he manages to grab you. Luckily, they're actually all more enjoyable than him, especially the demonic knight Verge Nilo Angelo. No relation to any other character. His fights are easily the best in the game. He feels like he's on equal footing with Dante, with him even taunting you after landing a hit. I also really like after getting Ifrit and encountering him a second time, he also gets a moveset like he's using the gauntlet weapon. Wow, it's as if he's some sort of counterpart to Dante. Oh, hey Virgil.
Scum.
It's quite cool how the 3 encounters in this game have similarities to the Virgil fights in 3, with the second one in that one having him steal your gauntlet weapons and using them against you. It all just comes together, you know? I love this series. Except for you. You can go fuck yourself. I know for a fact if this video does well enough, I'm gonna have to cover this piece of shit. So make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to witness me slowly delve into the pits of insanity playing Devil May Cry 2. Anyway, instead let's focus on Devil May Cry 1 for now. I'm gonna be going into each chapter of the game, going into what happens in them, while talking about shit that pissed me off and stuff that I loved. If you're familiar with my Wolfenstein videos or my Singularity video, it's gonna be kind of like that, which explains why the video is as long as it is compared to my other stuff. Anyway, get comfortable, maybe make yourself a drink, perhaps a G Fuel, 20% off if you use code Proxidist, and get ready to experience the beginning of the peak. That is... Devil May Cry begins in the most Devil May Cry way it could. It starts out with a dead serious backstory on Dante's father Spada being read out in an incredibly dramatic way, all while he aura farms in the background with flames behind him. It's so early 2000s and it is so peak. We then cut to a shot of a red moon as we see a mysterious blonde lady fall from it. Once she lands, she slowly turns around to face the place we'll all come to know and love, Devil May Cry itself. Inside we see Dante's office decked out in very tasteful decorations of decapitated demon heads pinned to the wall with a random ass drum set for some reason and what I assume are beer bottles. It's hard to tell with the PS2 textures. Right now Dante is talking to a customer saying how they close at 9 PM so they should fuck off, when suddenly his doors are busted down by the mysterious woman riding a fucking motorbike. Dante acts accordingly.
Well, well, what do we have here? Nature calls? It's in the back.
She questions Dante if he's the quote, handyman taking any job, which Dante gets up and flexes his sword that isn't rebellion.
Not that one. Idiots!
Chatting usual Dante shit, knowing something is up with this woman because, I mean, she busted down his door on a motorbike. He especially knows something is up when she mentions his past, how his mother and brother were murdered and he was the son of the legendary Dark Knight Sparda. So Dante puts his sword up to her, knowing she's some sort of demon, but she came prepared. You know, I'm gonna do an impale counter for this Devil May Cry series because Dante gets impaled a stupid amount.
And not in the good way.
The mysterious lady, who I'm just gonna refer to as Trish from now on because that's her actual name, takes advantage of the upper hand she's gained on Dante, throwing her motorbike at him. But Dante pulls out his guns, Ebony and Ivory, and takes care of that.
Time to go to work, guys.
He then proceeds to pull the sword out of his chest, showing off how powerful he really is, and goes to finish off Trish. But before Dante can finish her off, Trish gets up and says how she's actually here because she needs his help, because a powerful demon known as Mundus, who Dante's father Sparda sealed away, has been resurrected with plans to take over the human world by opening a gate from the underworld in a place called Malay Island. I do think the main reason why Dante didn't finish her off though is not because of this job, it's because she takes her glasses off, showing to him that she looks exactly like his deceased mother, so obviously he has a soft spot for her.
Shit, that's all you had to say.
We then cut to them arriving at Malay Island, with Trish stating that the entrance to the castle is above the cliff, suspiciously splitting off from Dante, and we don't see her for a while after this.
Bye, have a great time.
Now this is the point where we finally get control of Dante, introducing us to the fixed camera angles as we make our way up to the castle. We also get our first yellow orb. Now yellow orbs work a bit differently in this game compared to the others. They act as lives in a Mario game of all things, taking you back to the nearest checkpoint when you die, rather than just straight up reviving you on the spot like it does in the other games. What makes this extremely punishing in Devil May Cry 1 though, is the fact that if you run out of these yellow orbs, you have to restart the entire chapter you're on. Luckily, none of the missions are particularly that long, so it's not too punishing. Either way, we make our way up to the entrance, and that's where we begin mission 1. This is where Devil May Cry truly begins, and it does not begin like any of the other games. Whilst the other ones throw you straight into combat usually, as that's the bread and butter of Devil May Cry games, the original goes for a much slower approach. See, as soon as you load in, the only thing you're greeted to is an empty hall with an extremely unsettling ambience playing. It feels like you're playing a horror game instead of a Devil May Cry one, which makes sense because of all the Resident Evil stuff I mentioned earlier. But personally, I do really like this tone, and I wish the future Devil May Cry had more creepy elements to them. Luckily, we aren't actually alone in the hall, as there's actually a familiar face, that being the red orbs with their screaming in agony beauty. Our objective before we can progress is to collect all of the red orbs within this room to destroy a demonic red entity wall covering a door, which is an element I'm very glad doesn't make a return, because who the fuck thought this was a good idea? I mean, I guess it gives you an incentive to explore the entire area, and it does introduce you to red orbs, but it could have been done in a way that's fun, you know? Can't lie though, the hall looks absolutely amazing, and even though I feel like something is watching me and is ready to scare the shit out of me, I just like being in it. I like horror, it's cool. Once we buy our way through the literal red paywall, we come into a room with a gate which serves importance in a later mission, because backtracking is a very prominent part of the level design in this Devil May Cry. You could argue at this point I might as well go play Resident Evil and not Devil May Cry, but I don't know man, the linearity of Devil May Cry 4 and 5, I don't know, I like being able to go back and just have downtime between combat that's not just walking in a straight line. Making our way through, we find a freaky looking puppet holding a glowing item, that item being a rusty key, and as we walk away after taking it, some blades are thrown at Dante, and as he turns around we can see that the puppet is not too chuffed that we nicked his shit. This is where we get introduced to the first enemy in Devil May Cry, the puppets. A great first enemy type, they stagger very easily, letting the player wail on them and take them down fairly quick, and it also gives you a chance to experiment. In a one-on-one fight, the puppets stand zero chance, but what makes them interesting is the fact they're color-coded, and each of the different colored puppets wield a different weapon, ranging from ranged blades to giant curved guillotines. After the first encounter, we have to fight more of them, but they're in groups this time, spicing things up and feeling like a little test to see what we've learned from the one-on-one fights. Either way, we make our way back to a hall and we use the rusty key on a locked door, ending the first mission. Mission 2, Judge of Death. Mission 2 introduces us to a very important element of Devil May Cry, the shop. The place where we can buy actual important shit rather than spending it on fucking paywalls. In the shop, you're able to buy items like blue orbs which extend your health bar, purple orbs which come into play a bit further into this mission, and items you can use during fights like the green star which heals you, and holy water which is the ultimate crutch item for people with severe skill issues. By that I mean me. I have a collection of them in my room because I yearn for crutches to get me through my shitty ass life. You can also buy combos at the shop which are pretty integral, but anyway. During the mission we make our way down the spooky halls of the castle, being ambushed by puppets along the way. Oh, that actually reminds me, I forgot to talk about how good the music is in this game. Like, the general combat music slaps so hard, pumping you up for every single fight, even if you're getting your ass handed to you. Even in the beginning, they were going hard on the soundtrack for Devil May Cry. As we make our way down the hallway, we come up to this sculpture with a sword impaled into it, which is subtle foreshadowing. Add it to the counter. Dante pulls himself up out of the sword and proceeds to grab it and aura farm with it, and then put it onto his back, basically replacing his previous sword, the Force Edge, for good.
Or is it?
And that's with good reason, because this is Alistair, an electrified sword which allows us to activate Devil Trigger, a mode that enhances our attacks and speed, as well as slowly recovering any lost health. It's where the purple orbs come in handy in the shop, because these increase the time you can use Devil Trigger for. This isn't the only time we get a new weapon in this mission. Right after getting Alistair and doing a bit more exploring, which involves smacking this thing to find a random ass trapdoor for some reason that takes us to a weird contorted library. Again, the ambience here is spot on, but up the stairs and in the corner we can find a shotgun, which is very useful for the next enemy type. These Grim Reaper ghost enemies known as Sin. They wield giant scissors or scythes. They're glass cannon enemies that deflect a lot of your attacks with their weaponry, but after a bit you're able to stagger them, letting you finish them off, and the shotgun is extremely effective against them. I also really like the glass smashing sound that plays when they die. It's very satisfying. Although be careful, because when you kill them, their weapon flies up into the air and then lands nearby you, and you can be hit by this. As we leave the library, we're jump scared by a giant cluster of spiders spindling around on the floor. They're pretty harmless, but they drop red orbs, so shooting the fuck out of them is a good method. We also use a staff we found earlier that I forgot to mention, because I mean, you pick up a lot of knickknacks to open up doors in this game, so I'm not gonna remember all of them, they just kind of blur together. Either way, we put it on the statue we found Alistair impaled into, and it opens up, ending the mission. Mission 3, Destroyer of Ardor. Mission 3 throws us straight into the room behind the statue beforehand, and instantly a white wall appears behind us, preventing us from going back the way we came. And these don't work like the red doors, you can't buy your way through them. The room we're in is weird. It's got these pulsating pillars that I can only imagine are caused by the corruption from the gate to hell, or probably not, I'm probably just making shit up, because what the fuck causes this? There's a floating object at the end of the room, an emblem of a lion to be exact, which is something we need to use to open a door from an area we've explored beforehand with a fountain in the middle of it. We use this to open a door there to progress. Unfortunately, we're told the pride of the lion is granted only to those who choose the path of the trials. After interacting with it, the white wall disappears from the main doorway, allowing us to go through it. It leads to the outside of the castle, where we go across a huge bridge, which seems pretty normal, you know, nothing happens as we cross it, and at the end of it is some writing with a lion head on top, and it states, "Go back the path, and thou shalt return from the abyss with thy lion heart, and thou shalt receive the pride of lion." Basically telling us to just go back the way we came. Okay, great. That wasn't a waste of time at all. So turns out the trial that we need to receive the Pride of Lion is actually fighting giant skulls underwater. I don't know why. I love the PlayStation 2 era, man. It's so odd sometimes. We make our way back into the pulsating pillar room to claim what is rightfully ours. But as we do, Alistair starts sparking, grabbing Dante's attention, and suddenly a giant molten spider drops down from the ceiling, ambushing us. This is Phantom, and he has probably one of my favorite designs when it comes to the bosses in the series. I also like how during the cutscene with him, we see a bit of Dante's personality flourishing through, which is quite nice to see because it's very few and far between in this game compared to the others.
I hope for your sake you got something inside that big body of yours.
This obviously pisses Phantom off, starting the boss fight itself. Now Phantom is incredibly tough for a first boss. Almost all of Phantom is shielded and hitting him doesn't do anything. The only vulnerable part of the specimen is his face and his back. Hitting his face leaves you open to point blank fireballs which do a stupid amount of damage, and he can also perform little melee swipes when you're by his head which again do a shitload of damage. Oh, and good luck getting on his back. He doesn't give you many opportunities to do so. There's probably other ways to take Phantom down that I'm not aware of, but knowing these two weak spots were how I managed to take him down, on my second attempt at least. Yeah, I died once. Once Phantom has been defeated, he spindles down into a magma hole in the ground to get away, and just like that, the white wall is shattered, allowing us to backtrack to the Lion Door. Mission 4, Black Knight. We have one goal set in mind at the beginning of Chapter 4, and that's getting to the Lion Door in the courtyard area. During this, I do get a bit lost and end up back in the library and fight the Sins again. Whoops. Back on track, we head down the corridor just to be ambushed by Phantom. Luckily, I ran into the closest door, which leads exactly to the courtyard, which is where we're wanting to get to, cancelling out the Phantom chase entirely. This was actually intentional. I'm just that smart and skilled. Before we can enter the door, we need to interact with a lion statue that says, before we can confront the lion, we'll need a sign, which is where the Pride of Lion comes in. Using it causes the statue's eyes to glow red, and we need to hit it, which breaks it, causing a shadow to emerge, taking the form of a panther-esque saber-toothed cat. It jumps up and attacks us fucking instantly. I absolutely hate these enemies. They're called shadows, and the only way to damage them is by shooting them. Your melee attacks just bounce off of the twat. And what makes this worse is the fact it bombards you constantly with a bunch of hard to read attacks that come from all over the fucking place, and it's just a nightmare to fight.
Say that again?
Damaging it enough with your ranged weapons causes an orb to appear, which you can actually attack with melee. The problem is, it still attacks you while in this state. I have to admit something right here. When I first played Devil May Cry 1 in 2018, I got to this point and died a stupid amount of times to this unwashed gimp, and I actually dropped the game there and then. Forget Phantom, this is the true first challenge of Devil May Cry. At least the music slaps while fighting it though. After defeating it, we can finally progress through the Lion Door. After this, it's your usual ordeal, you know, solving some puzzles, finding items, and using them to progress. That is until we get to the bedroom with a giant mirror. We place a sword that we acquired earlier into this statue to get another knick-knack that we need to progress. But as Dante's picking up the item, Alistair sparks up again, and as Dante looks around cautiously, possibly expecting another molten arachnid to jump him, his reflection turns around to stare at him, and slowly walks out of the mirror. As it gets closer, it changes form into this demonic looking knight. This is the next integral boss fight in the game, and he's called Nilo Angelo, Mundus's knight sent to kill Dante. Unlike Phantom, he doesn't attack Dante there and then. Instead, he opens up the doors to the bedroom leading into a courtyard area and beckons Dante to follow him to fight there instead. As we go out to fight him, we don't see him straight away. Instead, he's lingering above looking cool as shit, taking in as much aura as he can before he jumps down to fight. Now, Nilo Angelo is easily the best boss fight in Devil May Cry 1, no question about it. He uses pretty similar tools and moves to Dante, causing frequent clashes where one of you needs to think first to outsmart the other. It's a boss fight where you can't just wail on him. You need to think about what move you're gonna be pulling off next. And even though the boss is AI, it feels like he's doing the exact same thing. It makes sense as to why it feels like equal footing, as we'll come to learn later, but either way, we defeat him, causing him to freak out and fly up into the sky fleeing. Mission 5, Guiding of the Soul. So, remember the item we got in the bedroom before Nilo Angelo? Yeah, neither do I. Well, turns out that shit's on a timer before it becomes useless and fades away, which means we have 3 minutes to get to where we need to go. And luckily for us, a shadow has followed us and attacks us straight away as soon as we start the mission. And we have to fight it because there's a white wall blocking our way back. So we need to waste a bunch of time chipping away at the shadow. Once we manage to defeat it, it's fairly smooth sailing from there, and we end up using the item to open the door in time. That's the mission. I told you there's some short ones. Mission 6, Evil of the Waterways. So now we're in a sewer, and if you don't know already, I actually like sewer levels in games. They remind me of home, so it's quite cozy being in the shit-ridden, rat-infested, flooded tunnels. I don't rate this mission all too much though when it comes to sewer levels, it's just kinda dull. There's a room where we get attacked by overgrown bugs that really remind me of a certain enemy from Resident Evil 4, which is also introduced in a sewer area. We also get ambushed by a new version of the Sin enemies, with this one having what looks like a goat skull on its head. They're actually called Death, which is an accurate name because they're not fun to fight whatsoever, and you're definitely gonna die. They fly around the area, constantly going out of range of your camera to get you from random angles. They also feel super tanky, although I might have just not been fighting it properly. Either way, this is another short mission that ends with us getting a key called Guiding Light. Mission 7, Holding the Key of a Door. So it turns out the guiding light drains the power of anyone holding it, so our health is slowly depleting constantly, meaning we need to get the fuck out of the sewers as quickly as we can. Phantom seems to know about this because he ambushes us again at the worst possible time, but we manage to get away, making our way up to the bedroom again using the key, opening up a new door for us to go through, ending the mission. I promise the missions start getting longer again. Mission 8, The Legendary Dark Knight Returns. So as it turns out, that door we've entered has taken us to the top of the main hall we entered into at the beginning, which is actually really cool to see. It even plays the same ambience, and the next room across doesn't help with that feeling either because it's an even more unsettling room. Seriously? What the fuck, Camille? As we make our way out of the hell room, we're ambushed by an extra pissed off Phantom. This time though, he's nowhere near as hard as the first encounter, because by this point, you've dealt with quite a bit and learnt more about the combat, as well as probably stocking up on blue and purple orbs. So Phantom goes down pretty easily, and this time we actually take him down for good, with him recoiling backwards and falling through glass on the roof we're fighting on, causing him to land on a huge spike on the statue in the main hall, impaling himself. Whilst he writhes around in agony, he questions Dante asking, "What are you?" And as we pan up to Dante looking down with disgust, we see him take the form of his father Sparta briefly, as Phantom realizes he's a descendant of Sparta himself, so Phantom dies knowing he kind of fucked with the wrong fella. As Dante leaves, we pan down to the main hall and see Trish looking up. She's surprised by how Dante managed to defeat Phantom, pointing out his incredible power as she walks off. And we're surprised she still exists, because if you've forgotten Trish was a character by this point, I wouldn't have blamed you honestly. We make our way forward, acquiring another knick-knack, that being this funky trident, and on our way down to use it, we stumble across a corpse holding onto something. When we interact with this corpse, Dante claims that it was probably a soldier who wandered into the castle and died of exhaustion. Who cares though, the item he was holding is a grenade launcher. Oh yeah, sorry, a grenade gun. This ranged weapon is probably the best one in the game. Since you have infinite ammo, you can just spam the shit out of this, and it pretty frequently knocks back enemies whilst doing a lot of damage. Oh, and little fun fact, you can cancel the cooldown between shots if you dodge right after firing it. Just a little thing you should probably know. Anyway, we use the trident, unlocking the gate we saw during the first mission, and we make our way out. Alright, we have a big mission here, and it's a good one too, because something I wasn't expecting happens. The door we went through in the last mission was actually the main entrance to the castle, which means we're leaving the place. And we're not even halfway through the game. As we walk over, the drawbridge closes behind us, which means there's no going back now. At least, yet. As we make our way down, we're ambushed by a group of weird overgrown lizards burrowing out of the ground wielding shields. And they're aggressive, using a mix of close-up melee attacks and ranged ones when their mates are attacking you. so they're pretty smart and tactical too. After defeating them, we notice that we're in a huge area with multiple different doorways that we can't actually enter. The main goal here is to enter the main Colosseum off to the side, but obviously we can't do that yet, so we take the only route we can, that being an open gate with a bunch of blue flames guiding us towards it. Within this area, we need to do a weird platforming challenge, which obviously sucks ass because the platforming is pure dog shit in every Devil May Cry. Apart from the reboot, weirdly enough, that game got platforming right and it was actually really fun. I'm looking forward to getting to that game when it comes to talking about them. Either way, doing this platforming challenge is easily worth it because at the top, we get a nice reward. That reward being the Flaming Gauntlets Ifrit. As soon as we get them, we get to test them out on some puppets who are unfortunate enough to be in the area, because these things hit hard. Unluckily for us, as soon as we make our way back to the main big area with the Colosseum, we get to meet the next boss fight Mundus has sent to replace Phantom, that being Griffin. He's been perched above the Colosseum waiting for us, and Dante greets him accordingly.
Or you can stick around and find out the hard way.
Out of all the bosses, Griffin is probably the one I have the least to say about. He's just kind of annoying. He shoots lightning and controls wind and then occasionally lands on the ground, allowing us to hit him. Either way, we take him down and he flees. Not with a cutscene though, like once you drain his health bar, he just flies off screen, which feels pretty anticlimactic, I can't lie. With Ifrit, we're able to open one of the doors in the area by lighting up an unlit torch next to it, and through this door we find ourselves in a really cool area. It's a fog covered eerie place, and we don't spend a lot of time there before and who else will be greeting us other than the freaky ass puppets? And oh look, they've brought a friend. I should probably mention now that they're not actually called puppets, they're actually called marionettes, but I prefer puppets, I know it's just easier to say. The new fellow they brought is like a mechanical version with flaming blades, and they're called the Fetish. Seriously? Yep, it's on the wiki, it's right there. Despite the stupid ass name, the Fetish are actually pretty tough fellas. Not only do they have more defense compared to the puppets, they also hit way harder. Oh, and they're not afraid to block your attacks, and when they do, you're going to want to back up as quick as you can because they spew flames on your ass. The rest of this mission has us dealing with these fellas in the foggy area, and it's a lot of fun. I do really enjoy fighting them, so yeah, mission 9 was a good one. Mission 10, Canyon of Mist. Mission 10 is pretty much a filler chapter that lets us spend more time in the fog. And I'm not talking about Dead by Daylight. I'm sorry, I don't know why I mentioned Dead by Daylight. I'm so sorry. The fact this is a filler mission isn't really a problem because, like I said, I do really enjoy this area. This time we need to traverse the ominous Canyon of Mist, which has us choosing two different paths, with the wrong one taking us back to the beginning of the path. It's not really tough to figure out where to go because you just need to follow a floating white light which guides you down the correct path. And at the end of it all, we're greeted by Phantom's kids who aren't too happy that we killed their dad. Mission 11, Fate. Mission 11 starts off pretty rough, having us fight another death straight away, which I spend a solid minute and a half trying to fight. Little did I know at the time that air raid was a thing. Oh, how foolish I was. This is another fairly short chapter, having us grab the usual knick-knack to open up wherever it is we need to go. Luckily there's more to it than just that, as we're ambushed by Nilo Angelo again, who stops us in our tracks with lightning perched above looking down on us. Aura farming as per usual. He wastes no time and jumps down to attack, starting the boss fight straight away. It's a pretty similar fight, but with a new trick up his sleeve. He has gauntlet attacks similar to ours with Ifrit, spicing up the fight a bit. Again, just like the first one, it's a great fight and I had a great time facing him again. We come out on top and he teleports away again before we can put him down fully. And just like that, we make our way through where we need to go and end the mission. Mission 12, Ghost Ship. This is easily the mission I have the most mixed feelings on. For starters, we start off with a tutorial for underwater controls, which is a pretty bad sign to begin with, and we're also introduced to the needle gun, which is a weapon we can only use in underwater sections, and holy shit, they are absolutely god fucking awful to play through. If you have motion sickness problems, I don't recommend playing this game just because of these, because they make the screen go wobbly, and even me, who doesn't suffer from any form of motion sickness, feels feels nauseous playing through these. It makes it worse that they expect you to fight enemies in these sections with the stupid ass needle gun. To make matters worse, there's also a death we have to fight in this chapter, as well as the second griffin fight. Air raid definitely would have come in handy here, which comes down to a me issue, because I still didn't know it existed. But unlike the fights, the water sections can't be fixed by air raid. Now, what I do like about this mission is the aesthetic. I mean, look, you're literally on a ghost ship for fuck's sake. It looks awesome, and to be honest, fighting Griffin on it whilst it's moving is a very cool set piece. I love the camera angles, and it's just incredibly impressive, especially for a 2001 PlayStation 2 game. After we defeat Griffin, we enter a room on the ship and the mission ends. Mission 13, Abyss. The ship floods with water and we have to spend the whole mission under the water. It's the shortest mission in the game, but good lord, it is horrible. I wouldn't wish playing through this mission on my worst enemy, honestly. Fuck this mission. Mission 14, Deep Darkness and Towering Mountains. Mission 14 is misleading because it has us starting underwater. Luckily, we're able to jump out instantly and get back to what we were doing before, killing demons on dry ground and actually having fun rather than almost chundering on my controller. Mission 14 has us making our way back up to the Colosseum we need to get into. We have to traverse places like trap-filled tombs with spikes coming out of the ground, and mountaintops with another fucking death. We have to deal with another death on this mission. It was another point where I didn't know air raid existed, so I have an excuse for struggling so much with death enemies. And just before we enter the big area with the entrance to the Colosseum, the mission ends. As soon as we start mission 15, we're ambushed by a group of blades ready to murder us. Not much to say, they're just as fun to fight as they were last time, so yeah, we take care of them, and to make our way into the Colosseum, we need to enter two of the doors beside it, represented with shields. We're able to use a shield emblem to open them, which is a knickknack we got earlier that I forgot to mention. Very sorry about that, I can't keep track of all of the knickknacks, okay, I'm sorry. Within these rooms are platforming challenges, which aren't actually that bad, because they don't involve falling down and restarting. Instead, we have to walk falling down and having to restart like the other platforming challenges in the game. Instead, we have to walk along this moving floor with spikes coming out of the walls, so we have to time our jumps and movement to avoid being knocked back by the spikes. All the while we're attacked by sins. It's a fun challenge, and at the end we're rewarded with a pair of lances, which is what we need to enter the Colosseum. Before we use them to go in though, it's a good idea to explore the other side. It's a similar deal, but instead of sins attacking us, we instead need to hit these buttons to create a path for us on the other side, for us to get the item. That item being a new gun for us to play around with, the Nightmare Beta. It's like this weird funky demonic gun that is bordering on sci-fi alien shit. It fires glowing green bullets that ricochet around the area. You can also charge these up for more impact. It's a really cool gun, but I didn't use it all too much because the grenade gun exists, so... Anyway, we make our way back to the Colosseum, and as soon as we enter, we're greeted by Griffin. And because this is our third time fighting the fucker, we know it will be the final time, thankfully. What makes this part great for me personally is the fact whilst I was getting footage and I was streaming, someone in the chat mentioned air raid to me, so it made the Griffin fight significantly easier. Thank you whoever it was, I don't remember their name. Please comment on this video if you're watching this and I will give you a comment, a little heart. Midway through the fight, we actually managed to take off one of Griffin's wings, grounding him permanently for the rest of it. And Griffin gets desperate, pulling out everything it can to take down Dante, but of course we fuck him up, putting him down for good. In his last moments, he does the same as Phantom, noticing Dante's bloodline being related to Sparda, realizing they underestimated Dante's power. Griffin refuses to die though, begging Mundus to give him the power to defeat Dante, but Mundus has other plans. As Dante watches this, he clenches his amulet attached to a necklace. Whilst he's processing what just happened, Trish appears behind him and Dante monologues a bit about how he's gonna kill Mundus, and Trish fucks off with him. We then get an integral knickknack within the Colosseum called the Wheel of Destiny, and we end the mission there. Mission 16, Nightmare of Darkness. This is the start of the final stretch of Devil May Cry. I mean, out of the 4 bosses, we've already defeated Phantom and Griffin, and Nilo Angelo is up to his last fight, which leaves us with one more before final boss, aside from Mundus himself of course, but we'll get to him when we get to him. With the Wheel of Destiny knickknack we acquired in the mission before, we're able to finally return to the castle and lower the drawbridge. Also, something you may have noticed is the fact it's nighttime now, which is a cool touch, especially when we get back to the castle, because it makes it about 50 times more unsettling than it already was. Anyway, we need to head back to the room where we fought Phantom for the first time, because that's supposedly where the portal to the demonic world is being opened. Before we can get there in the main hall, we're ambushed by a brand new enemy, and it's a weird one. It's a blue electrified bat that can change forms, and it instantly takes the form of Dante himself. Luckily they can't form the weapons he uses, at least not for more than one move at a time, so they opt to use their hands and feet, making them not too tough to take down. They're a really cool enemy, and we actually encounter 3 at once a little further in, and yeah, again, it's a good fight. I like them. Honestly, their bat form is way harder, but we don't fight them until we actually get into hell, so I guess it's fitting that they're harder. Returning enemies from before are still here too, with the addition of new ones we were introduced to away from the castle. Like the puppets are now accompanied by fetishes. Feels really odd saying their name, fucking hell. Either way, we make it to the pulsating pillar room we fought Phantom in, and there's something different about it. There's a giant reflective puddle in the middle of the area, and when we interact with it, Dante points out that there's a strong surge of evil coming from the puddle. Then a voice in Dante's head says, "One who knocks on the gate to the underworld shall borrow the strength from the blue stone." Right after this, we're ambushed by a giant blob of skulls and weird demon tech. This is the last boss we have to take on out of the main 4, and this one is called Nightmare, which is a fitting name because he's a fucking nightmare to fight. For the fight, we have to hit those weird buttons around the arena, which causes Nightmare to expose an orb we can attack, similar to the shadows from earlier. Just like the shadows, when he's exposed, it doesn't stop him from attacking you constantly while trying to hit these. It's just an overall frustrating fight, and he's easily my least favorite one to deal with. Once we do manage to deal with him though, we can go over the bridge that was destroyed when we were doing the Trial of the Lion, and this time we can't just walk across because it was destroyed. Luckily there's a bunch of floating debris we can jump on. Ah, fuck's sake, it's platforming. And yeah, it's arse. We obviously fall, and the developers knew you'd fail and fall because after defeating the skulls again, you just get warped to the other side. Once here, 2 floating paintings open up, and within those paintings are areas with a key for us to open a way into the underworld to take on Mundus. We have to jump into them Mario 64 style, and one takes us to the bedroom where we first encountered Nilo Angelo. Unfortunately, there isn't much we can do in it currently, so we jump through the other painting, ending the mission. Mission 17, Parted Memento. So the painting has taken us deep into the castle, specifically the part where we first encountered the puppets. We can actually only traverse the different sections of the castle by using these paintings because supernatural shit has caused the castle to shift and morph, which is honestly really cool. But it does lose that Resident Evil element of memorizing where to go within the area and backtracking. I do love weird supernatural shit though, so I can't complain either way. We get introduced to a new enemy type further in, and these ones fucking piss me off the most out of every enemy, even more than shadows. They're just ice versions of the blades, and they're called frosts because obviously they're ice. They take what feels like a decade to die and they hit like a truck. It's 100% a skill issue on my part, but I just don't like them, and when I can, I avoid fighting them. They're more enjoyable in Devil May Cry 4. A lot of enemies make a return in Devil May Cry 4 now that I think about it. Further into the castle, we actually come across a new room. A room with a giant fireball spewing T-Rex skeleton. You can't make this shit up. Here we need to time our hits and knock the fireballs back at the T-Rex, which took me a stupid amount of time to figure out. Again, thank you to my stream chat for telling me what to do because I am incredibly incompetent. Call me Darkside Phil because I'm fucking stupid. Further in, we get our final encounter with Nilo Angelo in a dark, cool ass room, which is a perfect setting for a final fight. Before the fight this time, he decides to take his helmet off, showing his face, and we can see that iconic slick back white hair we all know and love. It's Virgil. Surprisingly, Dante doesn't recognize him instantly, and the fight starts straight after this scene. And just like every other Nilo Angelo fight, it's a good one. He's a bit more aggressive this time, and he now shoots flying blue swords at you, which is an iconic move Virgil uses in the later games. Again, don't know how Dante doesn't recognize him at this point, only doing so after his fight when his body drops an amulet, the exact same amulet Dante is wearing. Then and there, Dante recognizes that Nilo Angelo was in fact his brother Virgil, finally. Dante is absolutely livid livid at the fact Mundus manipulated his brother into becoming a knight for him. And before he can say anything, we cut to a scene of Mundus for the first time, and as it pans down we see Trish looking up at him. Oh my god, Trish is working for Mundus? Mundus explains that Virgil has been defeated, and she knows what she must do.
Yes, master.
And that's where the mission ends. Mission 18, Spirit Stone Elixir. With Virgil's amulet, Dante can combine it with his own to create the perfected form of it, which is one of the keys used to gain access to the underworld. Oh, and combined with the Force Edge, Dante's first sword, it becomes Devil Sword Spada, which has such a cool ass design. It starts off very strong, which makes it more of a shame that this mission isn't that great, because right after this we have a swimming section and the second nightmare fight to get another key knickknack to get to the underworld, the elixir. Once we acquire it, the mission ends. Mission 19, Enter the Corrupted World. With this, we enter the other painting leading to the bedroom, and we can enter the mirror Virgil originally emerged from, leading to this surreal demonic mirrored world with that nauseating wavy screen effect like the underwater section. Fuck's sake.
Get out of me! Get out of me!
Luckily, we don't have to spend much time here because we just need to jump down to the courtyard we fought Virgil in, but instead of a cool boss fight, we get introduced to the new final enemy type. These enemies are flesh abominations called nobodies. Oh my god. I don't think these enemies are too much of a trouble to fight. The wiki actually states that these are the most powerful of the lesser demons, but I have way more trouble dealing with the frosts, so I don't know what's wrong with me. Either way, we can exit the mirror realm and we can let our eyes readjust after the horrible wavy screen filter. All we need to do now is make our way back to the weird reflective puddle. Unfortunately, that involves crossing the fucking debris bridge again. Fuck! Once we get back inside, we can actually interact with the puddle and enter a reflective world just like the mirror in the room, causing us to land on the roof of the room we're in, which is really cool. The portal to the underworld is actually on the ceiling. It's weird as shit, but man, I do really love the environmental aesthetics of this game. I think Devil May Cry 3 is the only other one that comes slightly close to being as good as this one. Anyway, we enter the portal and that ends the final mission in the human world. Mission 20, Showdown with Nightmare. Well, now we're here in the demon world and it's hell. Literally, it's fucking hell. Not only because the walls are like literal flesh and guts, but because the first enemies we encounter are the frosts. Why? Why, Camille? Why would you do this?
もうだから毎日俺もうネットフリとか YouTube とかディズニープラスとか見てても曜日の感覚がなくてさ、もうすでに俺ね。
Wanna know what's worse? Right after this, we enter a room to see Trish laying on the ground, which is obviously a trap from what we saw beforehand, and guess who arrives to greet us? Nightmare. We get the final Nightmare fight, and it's a tough one. One where he can grab you mid-fight and then make you fight another one of the bosses we've previously defeated. It doesn't help that midway through, Trish zaps us with lightning to try and weaken us during the fight.
Oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
There's so much visual clutter, it's insane, and every time I play, I just wing this bit. I have no idea how I managed to finish this fight. I genuinely could not imagine it on higher difficulties. Like, that just sounds like a literal nightmare. After the fight, Trish almost dies, but Dante saves her, which obviously confuses her because, I mean, she tried to literally murder the guy. She asks why he saved her life, and Dante says,
Because you look like my mother.
He then states how, even though she may look like his mother, she'll never be like her. She has no soul. She was created by Mundus. She's nothing but a demon. After that, Dante walks away and we get a slow pan towards Trish looking guilt-ridden, as Mundus's ominous red glowing eyes appear behind her. Mission 21, Living Cave. So, here's a fun little thing I learned from someone in my stream chat about this mission. In the first room you load into, if you come around to this wall and interact with it, you're taken into a secret mission. It takes you into this weird magma room with another flame-spewing T-Rex skeleton. And within the room, you have to slowly scale it, and once you reach the top, you get an item called the Bangle of Time. An item that replaces Devil Trigger once equipped, allowing you to freeze time completely and hit enemies whilst they're frozen, building up damage once time unfreezes. This item doesn't freeze timers during time sections though, unfortunately, but it's still a cool thing, and I'm surprised it's hidden behind some random ass wall. I love it when developers do silly stuff like this though. Aside from that, fuck this mission. I hate these flesh tunnels with these weird tendrils that drain you for all your health, but don't have the balls to follow through and fucking kill you, leaving you with 1 hit point. Fuck these things. Aside from that, nothing hugely eventful happens, and we enter a door we destroy a white wall on, and that's where the mission ends. Mission 22, Legendary Battle. Behind the door we just entered is an area that's a complete contrast to the flesh-coated walls of the underworld. We're in this giant angelic looking hall with god rays beaming down on us from the windows, with what I assume are church organs playing in the background. As the camera perspective changes as we move, we see the Mundus statue looming over us, and as we approach him, Mundus says how he's fighting another Sparda, and how that's such a strange fate, and Dante snaps back instantly.
Strange and ironic that it will end the same way.
Mundus states that irony has favoured him this time, and he shines a light behind Dante, showing off that he's hung Trish up against the wall above the door. But he forgot to close the shackles around her wrists, so nice one Mundus, you fucking dumbass. Whilst Dante is distracted, he sneakily shoots him, impaling him 3 times, which I'm gonna count towards the impale counter, as this counts as 3 because it's 3 separate things impaling him. Just before Mundus can finish the job, Trish jumps down because she wasn't shackled on, and pushes Dante out of the way, saving him, but sacrificing herself whilst doing so. Seeing a form of what looks like his mother die again unleashes something in Dante, and he's able to activate Devil Trigger with his father's sword, allowing him to take a form similar to Sparda, as him and Mundus take things to the sky to finish things off. Now, the Mundus fight is kind of, well, it's not great, but I appreciate the fact they were trying something new here. The first phase has us taking him on in this weird Star Fox style, where we have to build up Devil Trigger by shooting balls with runes on them, and once we do so, Dante can turn himself into a giant flaming dragon and ram into Mundus. Yeah, I don't think this is ever explained or comes up again, but it looks cool, so yeah. Once we finish Mundus off in the air, we take him on foot. It's another weird boss fight where we can only attack him by activating Devil Trigger with Devil Sword Sparda equipped, and he's submerged in a pit of lava, so the only way we can get close enough is by jumping up on some moving debris platforms. Again, it's not great, but I appreciate what they were trying to do here. It does ultimately feel pretty epic and big in terms of scale, especially for a low-budget PlayStation 2 game. Once we finish him off, Dante rushes back to Trish's body on the ground, and we get the most iconic scene in the entire Devil May Cry franchise.
My mother risked her life for me, and now you too. I should have saved you. I should have been the one to fill your dark soul with light!
This shit is so funny. Once Dante has sobbed a bit, he leaves his amulet and father's sword by Trish and leaves.
My father's also here now. Rest in peace.
Mission 23, Mother's Guide. No time is wasted. After Mundus's demise, the island is about to go up in flames, and we have exactly 5 minutes to backtrack through the entire game from the underworld to the castle to escape. The whole time we're bombarded with enemies we've been fighting through the entirety of the game. Luckily, you can just run past a lot of them, so you don't waste any time. As soon as we get close to the main hall we began in, the floor caves in below us, causing us to fall down into the sewers we were in previously. Problem is, our way out from here has been blocked off by debris, and Mundus is back and he's absolutely livid. He's in a pretty fucked up state after our fight, with parts of his statue body coming apart, showing off the molten underneath him. Similar to Phantom's design, it's honestly really cool.
Dante, you are not getting away. This is where you will die.
I'm not going anywhere! Besides, there's no place to go! Look around! This'll be your burial ground as well.
So this is it. This is where Dante's story comes to an end, dying fighting his father's nemesis. Now this feels like more of a traditional boss fight in the sense that we just wail on him. There isn't really any gimmicks. What I like is the fact the more you hit him, the more of the statue body starts to fall apart, revealing more of the demonic molten, and yeah, I get why he wore that statue, because underneath he is fucked up. I guess people lie when they say you're prettier on the inside, goddamn. Dante's human side starts to become a disadvantage message to him because he starts to get exhausted from the endless fighting with no end in sight. But before all hope is lost, Dante hears a familiar voice. Suddenly Trish jumps in to assist Dante, boosting him by providing him her power. This enhances Ebony and Ivory, and with it we're able to finish off Mundus for good.
Jackpot. Goodbye. And when you do come back, give my regards to my son, will ya?
With Mundus gone, all hope seems lost, you know, they're still trapped in there. There's nowhere. Oh, okay, that's a plane. Okay, makes sense. So Dante and Trish escape the island on a plane just before it explodes, in a very similar way to how Resident Evil 4 ends. And once they get back, Dante and Trish partner up to run Devil Never Cry. Yeah, I'm glad that that name didn't stick. What kind of name is that?
This one has the password. Sounds heavy.
Okay, let's get it over with in 10 minutes. Can't let a single one of those suckers live.
5 minutes.
More than enough.
Just like that, that's the end of Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry, especially for its time, was an amazing game. I mean, hell, it set the groundwork for the character action genre, and like I said way earlier in the video, we wouldn't have so many absolute classics without it. Despite its flaws, I love it. It's not my favourite in the series, but it's up there, and I appreciate what it did. If you enjoyed this video and want me to talk about the other Devil May Cry games, including the second one, let me know in the comments and leave a like. This took a while to make, so it'd be much appreciated if you showed your support. Anyway, I need to mentally prepare myself if I end up playing the second game. I really don't want to, but I'm probably gonna have to. Fuck.